Don and Taylor, can you give us each a perspective, coach and player, as to what the week off gave you? Each of you as one as a player, one as a coach.
Give us that.
Oh, I'm happy to start. So we were very clear going into the bye what we wanted to do. So the first week was about a mental and physical recovery and relaxation, but we're still able to train and get some quality sessions in. And we obviously reviewed round 23 and forecasted what we wanted to do going into finals one, and now we've been able to put it into practice this week.
Did you like it? Did you feel it's a thing to go?
I think it's too early to say. I'm sure time will tell, and the AFL have obviously put it in there for a reason. So you got to go with the flow, and it is what it is.
Yeah, from a coaching viewpoint, it probably gives you an opportunity to just take a little bit of stock following the last round of the year, and probably from the benefit we've got out of it is we've been able to get planning tomorrow, we'll get 4 good quality training sessions, which coming off the 2 6-day breaks, it was hard to do some training through that period. So we've been able to train the group up to the things, focus on some of the things we want to work on, which gives us a good lead in, I think, to the final.
When you said you weren't going to jump at shadows, the game was still one that had some, can we use the word alarm bells, that came up in the game. What did you find in the end when you looked at it that needs to be addressed for the final series?
I think we acknowledge and we accepted on the night our effort around the contest wasn't to the level we've played at, and our work rate, and West Coast, to their credit, their work rate on the night was better than ours, and it gave them an opportunity to get the game played their end and set up scoring opportunities, whereas we didn't. So those two things you're looking at it going, is it a coaching thing, is it a personnel / style? They're all, it's all in amongst there, but it's really wasn't us. That's how we basically reflected on it.
Was there reason to think about how everyone else is saying that another inside 30 to your goal, now everyone's going to sit there and just block you there? And is that now a tactic that you fear is going to actually work against you?
Sorry, in terms of
the way in which everyone's now crowding the corridor, working inside that last 30 metres to deny you that space there?
Yeah, look. We look at a whole range of things, and a lot of it depends on how we win the ball back, how we're able to move the ball. But I think we need to be really clear. Our game style is not built purely on our ball movement. It's built on our ability to win our share at the contest, whether that's aerial, whether that's on the ground, and that's not going to change, and that's going to become more prevalent in finals because that's the nature of the games we play. I mean, the finals games, you're playing a highly contested games.
So you reckon it stands up the way in which you've played, it will stand up in September?
Yeah, we firmly believe that. It's stood up in games we've played this year, and we're not about to, as I said, jump at shadows and change things. We've tweaked a few things, but I've always said we wanted to be a balanced team. We want to be able to be effective in all the areas of the game. So we want to be able to win our share. We want to be able to move the ball effectively in whatever fashion we're able to, given the opposition, how they're setting up, and we need to be able to defend it. Now in the game against West Coast, we weren't good enough in the contest and we didn't move the ball particularly well. That's a bit of credit to West Coast and a bit of us, and I'd like to think we've addressed that over 2 weeks, and our guys will be ready to go Saturday night.
Is there a temptation to add a bit more pace in the midfield, Don? Maybe someone with Rolly Knight to bring him in this weekend?
Well, we've certainly got some options in that area this week. The guys played some really good footy on the weekend, which is great to see. I mean, our first Samford final, and the boys really came out and played well and played again. The style we want is a really collective style, and I thought on the weekend that was the most pleasing part, was the evenness of our contribution. So those sorts of guys come into the mix, and again we'll weigh up the right balance for the side, for the opposition we're playing, but it's pleasing to have some options there because we've got some guys in good form.
Don, from all reports, Kyle didn't do a hell of a lot yesterday at training. Is he okay? You're confident he'll get through?
Well, he's going to have to train tomorrow. He's probably one of a couple of guys who are sort of seeing Mercedesman's another one who needs to train. So we'll weigh all that up after the training session, and really mindful of making sure we've got a fit squad going into Saturday night.
Are you also mindful of, with Brodie and Rory coming back, not wanting to make too many changes to a side? You don't want to be making 4 or 5 to a side week to week.
Ideally not, and we haven't made a lot of changes throughout the season. So we've obviously got those 2 guys coming back in. So there's probably a couple of changes you can imagine straight away. And we'll wait up. We'll see how guys train tomorrow. This time of year, some guys naturally are carrying little niggles. Some of those things you can play with. Some of those things might be an issue. So we'll assess all that and make a decision on full facts.
Is Luke Brown in that boat? He looked a little bit proppy coming off the ground a few times during the West Coast game.
Yeah, he's been a little bit sore. So he's one we've sort of managed through the last 2 weeks. But we're really hopeful he's going to come and be fine.
Taylor, can you tell us what sort of hunger the group's got with finals? You had the taste of it last year, but what sort of hunger exists in the group at the moment?
Very hungry. the way I look at it is that the Adelaide Football Club belong in finals. We've earned our right to be here. We've won 16 games, so you just don't fall into finals. So I've got full belief and confidence that our footy will stand up in finals, and I can guarantee you that I'll be running out Saturday night with 21 very, very hungry players.
And Tex, given that, I suppose how important now that you're there and having such a good year, but to make that opportunity count?
It's very important for us to stamp our style on finals footy, and I'm confident that we can do that. A lot of hard work's gone into it, and this is what you play footy for, is to play finals, so I'm looking forward to it.
Do you expect North to be pretty fired up? I mean, obviously those 4 champions of the club potentially playing their last game halving, all that.
I'm not too sure what they're going to bring. I'm not too worried about that. We'll worry about what we can control, and that's the way we play.
Taylor, what do you think of Wayne Carey's critique of the way you play and his advice that you actually move away from what he calls the Darren Jarman style of footy of being?
I heard what he said.
He was more suggesting you should be more of the making a presence as a key forward rather than trying to be the opportunist forward like a Darren Jarman.
Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to listen to it.
Sorry, Tex, has your role changed this year at all? Like, are you sort of playing further up the ground than what you did, say, last season?
I'll play the role that enables us to win week in, week out.
So on that, Don, what do you ask of Taylor Walker the way you want to play him as a forward?
I've pretty much said all year, our forward line functions because of the fact that it doesn't rely on one player playing in a certain spot, and we've seen that throughout the year. And it was reported obviously early on, Taylor had a few injury problems and bits and pieces, but once he returned into his form, he's as good a power forward as goes around the league. And the blend between him, Josh Jenkins, Tom Lynch, Eddie Betts, Charlie Cameron, McGovern down there, the challenge is to match up on them. But in particular, we're not looking at going, he's got to take 10 contested marks or do this or do that. We're after them contributing, playing in the area in the space that we need them in. And that changes from week to week depending upon opposition, depending on how we're moving the ball.
Do you feel teams have found a way to sort of contain that forward line, given, I think, the 4 key forwards only kicked the 2 goals against West Coast?
Well, you're talking about one game, and the game we didn't play particularly well. So, as I said, I think we've got to be fair to our forward line group and also our side in terms of our ability to move the ball, give them enough supply and opportunity, and then we've got to win our share in the contest down in that area of the ground as well. So we'll see what we can produce on Saturday night.
So it's a long time between games. Is it we need to settle the guys because they've had so long to think about this first final, or do you use that energy as a positive?
Oh, we've taken the opportunity to, as Tex sort of said, to freshen the guys up mentally and physically, train them a little bit more than we maybe have been able to in the previous 3 weeks. But we've got to be mindful of the game's not till Saturday night. And so we're sitting here on a Tuesday and the guys need to still be relaxed, still be preparing themselves, ready to go. So the 2 weeks probably extends out your build-up potentially, but we're really mindful of just drip-feeding information to the players as is because we're still 5 days away from playing.
Is the season wasted if you don't have an impact in finals, Don?
Well, I think we've improved in a lot of areas now. The challenge is finals, and that's where it sits right now. Again, I'm not going to get into opinion on the season. I think we've improved in a lot of areas, and we get an opportunity on Saturday night to win a final, and then we'll take it week from week to there. We can't do anything else. So same sort of mantra we've had all year, which is right now straight in front of us is North Melbourne. We'll deal with them, and if we get over that hurdle, then we'll confront someone else. But we'll focus on playing our way and playing to the best of our capabilities.
What do you think is required to win 4 consecutive finals? It's an uncharted little bit of work there, but what's going to be required?
Well, it's an interesting year. I mean, it's one of those years where 16 wins. We've now got 2 teams outside the top 4 with 16 wins, which to me suggests it's been a super even year. And so the difference between first and 7th is a game. So I think that the opportunity for someone with a week's break heading into the finals to do that and win 4 games in a row to win a premiership exists. We'll focus on the first game, but sport's full of history lessons talking about sides and teams winning from rare spots. I mean, America's Cup where you're 4-1 down and got up and win. 4-minute mile was broken when no one thought that was going to be done either. Someone will do it. I'm not saying it's going to be us, but someone will do it, and the opportunity exists. and we get a crack at that opportunity to start our finals campaign on Saturday night.
But is there a quality that's going to be needed from Adelaide to be able to do that?
I think the best teams in all finals is a quality around competing and just competing, and that's really, there's a point in most games that an arm wrestle comes and it's a battle of wills, and that's what the best teams can find.
Don, how do you assess North? Do you look more at their early season form, or do you look at their run into the finals? How do you weigh up?
We assess them on what we know they're capable of producing. Yeah, they haven't had the best back end of the season, but they won 9 games in a row to start the year, so we know what they're very capable of. They've got some high quality individuals, and they've got some really proud individuals who've got great history at their footy club. So we'll expect them to come out playing finals style footy because they've had success doing that in recent years. But I'll expect our guys to do the same.
Don, there's a bit written about Jared Lyons and his contract. I don't know about contracts, but how important has he become as a player this year from someone who previously had struggled to break into the 22?
Oh, it's been great for Jared to be able to firm down a spot in the side, and his progress has been really pleasing. He's gone from obviously being a guy who played a lot of footy as a sub last year to being able to hold down a spot. So on list management, we'll let that deal with itself. We're sort of focused on North Melbourne, to be honest.
Tell us what's the lasting lesson from last year's final series about what's going to be required to do 4 wins in a row?
We only won 1, so we need to win 3 more. But we need to play our footy. It's going to be high-pressured contest, so we're going to have to win our fair share of footy and obviously kick a winning score and nullify their ability to score.
Is there something you learn about the difference between that first final against the Western Bulldogs and then how it didn't happen against Hawthorn in the second one? What did you learn about what it takes to win in September?
You've got to do it every game. You've got to do it week in, week out, and for longer. We weren't able to do that.
Do you feel a better side, Taylor, this year than compared to last?
Oh, it's hard to say better side. I think we've developed, we've grown as a group, we've matured, but we'll find out in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Don, you talked about some of the options you have. Ricky Henderson came in for that West Coast game, played really well. How tough is that choice going to be, whether it's Hendo or someone else who has to slip around the 22? Yeah,
look, it's been the case all year. We've had opportunity for guys to come in who've been playing well in the SANFL, so we'll weigh all that up. We'll assess a range of things, and selections hasn't been easy the last month, and I don't imagine it's going to be easy, say tomorrow afternoon.
Do you look for someone who can deliver something different in September rather than look at what happened between March and August? Does September bring that sort of equation to selection?
In a marginal sense, it really depends on the player and depends on the role we've got for them. I mean, messaging to our players is, we've got to this position because we've played a particular way. The players have played true to their trademark on the way through. So there's the temptation to think you've got to reach for something substantially different. We think that we're capable of producing good footy which will stand up in finals, and that's a challenge without trying to create something unique or extra special. It's often just doing what you do, doing it better, and as Taylor says, doing it for longer against quality opposition.
What about you, Don? How important is your finals experience as a player and then as an assistant coach last year?
He's played pretty well in finals, hasn't he?
It's going back a while. You've seen that, haven't you?
He's told us that.
Yeah. I think having guys, not only myself, but other guys in our coaching group and our playing group who've got finals experience can help. It is slightly different, but it is a little bit overplayed. It's really it's the same game, but with a little bit more pressure and more focus on it. That's really what it comes down to. So your ability to execute the fundamentals stands you in really good stead. It's probably more making sure that they get to the game not overly anxious, but really capable of having good high energy and ready to play. If we get them in that headspace, then it comes down to whether we're good enough, and we'll find that out.
Good to have someone that experienced at the helm, Taylor.
Yeah, it's always that experience has been there and done it. So we've got some guys within the footy club that have been there and done it. So Pyke has definitely let us know this week.
How much, when you say about it is the same game, is that one of the traps that it can get overhyped, so you actually lose focus on the process rather than what the finals are really about?
Yeah, I think there's a risk there. Often there's a feeling as a player that you might, and we've probably all been through this when we're players, is you're feeling you've got to do something extraordinary, and often it's the ability, as I say, just to compete, to stay true to how we want to play, and in a lot of ways maintain some composure about what's required. It's under pressure situations. It doesn't matter whether sitting in an air traffic controller's tower trying to land a plane, your ability to stay composed at times under pressure is what allows you to actually complete the task that you've set, or stay on path in terms of how we want to play.
On those extra sessions that you've been able to get in for the past fortnight, from that West Coast game, did you focus more on the skill base or on another base? What was you thinking about what you needed to do on the extra time you got?
Yeah, we focused on a couple of little things, but they'll stay with us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.